Welcome back, Warner fam. Today I'll recap an action comedy film, Red 1, so keep your eyes wide open and stay safe. The movie kicks off 30 years earlier at a family Christmas party. A young Jack O'Malley is sneaking upstairs with his cousins to reveal a shocking secret. The gifts under the tree aren't from Santa, but from their parents. Jack's excitement turns into trouble when his Uncle Rick catches him in the act and scolds him for spoiling the holiday magic. Jack, Uncle Rick says sternly, Christmas is about more than just presents. In the present day, Jack has become an expert tracker with skills sharper than ever. He's sneaky, clever, and not afraid to bend the rules. To get past the tight security around a busy mall, Jack creates a wild distraction. He sets a giant Christmas tree on fire. While everyone's busy panicking over the flames, Jack slips inside unnoticed and plants a mysterious device. But Jack isn't done showing off his bad boy attitude. Just for the fun of it, he steals candy from a baby on his way out. Talk about taking things to a whole new level of trouble. At the mall, Santa, also known as Red 1, is busy doing his yearly gig, spreading cheer with a little help from his top bodyguard, Callum Drift. Callum isn't just any bodyguard. He's the leader of the ELF team at the North Pole, and he's all about keeping Santa safe. As Santa looks around the bustling mall, he can't help but feel disappointed. The shoppers are greedy, loud, and way too focused on buying stuff instead of enjoying the holiday spirit. Things take a turn when a wannabe influencer rudely interrupts a family's chance to meet Santa, shoving his camera in everyone's face. But Callum isn't having it. With a single intimidating glare and a firm warning, he sends the influencer packing, making sure the family gets their special moment. Even though everyone seems to know it's the real Santa, Callum's there to ensure nothing ruins the day. Not even pushy influencers or holiday chaos. In his small apartment, Jack sits down for a tense conversation with his mysterious employer. The person on the other end of the call doesn't seem too interested in being fair. Instead of paying Jack the full amount they promised, they only send him half. Jack's frustration is clear, but the employer quickly cuts him off, promising that the rest of the payment will come later, once they've tracked down the person they needed Jack to find. For now, Jack is left with half the money and a whole lot of unanswered questions. Callum and Santa return to the North Pole, hidden behind a shimmering magic force field. Once inside, they're warmly greeted by Mrs. Claus, who is as kind and cheerful as ever. But the holiday cheer doesn't last long. In a quiet moment, Callum shares a tough decision with Santa. He's thinking about retiring. The joy of Christmas doesn't feel the same to him anymore, and he's growing tired of how the holiday has lost its meaning for so many people. Santa, ever the optimist, tries to convince him to stay, reminding him that spreading joy is still worth the effort. Before they can continue, chaos erupts. A group of mercenaries breaks through the magical force field surrounding the North Pole, and Callum immediately notices something is wrong when the lights in Santa's tower start to flicker. Racing to investigate, Callum finds Santa's room empty. Santa has been taken. Callum doesn't waste a second. He hops on a snowmobile and chases after the intruders, speeding across the icy terrain of the North Pole. But even with his skills, he can't catch them before they escape with Santa. Soon after, the North Pole is contacted by Zoe Harlow, the no-nonsense director of MORA, the Mythological Oversight and Restoration Authority. Zoe informs Callum that the only person who can track down Santa is an expert known as the Wolf. And who is that? None other than Jack, the skilled tracker from earlier. Time is ticking. They have only 24 hours until Christmas Eve. Jack gets an unexpected call from his ex, Olivia. She's upset because their son, Dylan, managed to land himself in trouble at school again. This time, Dylan tried to hack into the school's PA system. Things went south when one of his so-called friends snitched on him. When Jack talks to Dylan, his response isn't exactly Father of the Year material. Instead of scolding him for the mischief, Jack gives him a hard time for getting caught. If you're going to do something like that, at least be smart about it, Jack says with a smirk. Dylan, clearly frustrated, changes the subject. He tells Jack about his concert that evening, but shrugs it off, saying, "It doesn't matter if you come or not." Those words hit Jack harder than he expected, leaving him to wrestle with a familiar pang of regret. He knows he hasn't always been the dad Dylan needed, and moments like this remind him how much it's cost them both. When Jack gets back to his apartment, he barely has time to relax before chaos erupts. A team of North Pole mercenaries storms in, ready for a fight. Jack isn't about to go down without a struggle, though. Using his wits and agility, he manages to fend them off in the cramped space of his apartment. Just when he thinks he's in the clear, Zoe appears and expertly neutralizes him, taking him back to the North Pole. There, Jack is met by Callum and a massive polar bear bodyguard named Garcia. It's clear they aren't happy to see him. Callum wastes no time pointing out that Jack is a level 4 naughty lister, making him one of the most untrustworthy people in their book. Jack, still piecing things together, explains that he was hired by someone to do a tracking job. "I didn't know who or what I was tracking," he insists, But Callum and Zoe aren't buying excuses. That's when they drop the bombshell. Santa has been kidnapped. Jack can't hide his disbelief. Santa? Kidnapped? Are you kidding me? He asks, struggling to take it seriously. But Zoe quickly shuts down his doubts by revealing a startling truth. All those mythological creatures people think are made up, they're real. As if to prove it, the Headless Horseman himself rides by, making Jack realize he's in way deeper than he thought. Santa wakes up groggy and disoriented, only to realize he's locked in a cold, dark cell. Across from him stands his captor, a young woman with a mischievous glint in her eye. She doesn't look like much of a threat at first, but her sinister smile says otherwise. Without wasting time, she connects Santa to a strange, glowing machine. It hums to life, and Santa feels his energy being drained away. The woman explains her plan. She's using Santa's magic to power up a dangerous weapon, a mysterious snow globe prison called a Glaskafig. The Glaskafig doesn't just trap people, it seals them away in a world of endless winter, where escape is impossible. As Santa struggles against the machine, the young woman simply smirks. She clearly thinks she's won, but Santa knows better than anyone. Never count him out. Callum and Jack, clearly not thrilled about working together, realize they don't have much choice if they want to save Santa and rescue Christmas. Their journey begins in the most unexpected way. They step through a glowing portal hidden in a toy store. Inside, they find a tiny toy car, which they magically enlarge to use as their ride. Their first stop is sunny Aruba, where they track down Ted, the shady guy who arranged the deal between Jack and the villain. Ted turns out to be a slippery character, and his goons don't make things easy. Callum shows off his skills by using a gadget to shrink and grow himself mid-fight, which throws the goons into complete chaos. When the dust settles, Ted spills the truth. The mastermind behind everything is none other than Gryla, the Christmas witch. Gryla is no ordinary villain. She's a terrifying figure known for punishing the wicked. Jack, being his usual careless self, accidentally says Gryla's name out loud. Big mistake. The room goes eerily quiet as Ted's voice changes, now controlled by Gryla herself. Through him, Gryla delivers a chilling warning. She knows who's on Santa's naughty list, and she's ready to punish them all. Callum and Jack realize the stakes just got a whole lot higher. Just when things couldn't get any crazier, an ice cream truck suddenly rises from the ocean, like something out of a wild dream. But what happens next is even stranger. 3 giant, monstrous snowmen step out of the truck and begin charging at Jack and Callum. These snowmen are no ordinary creations. They're massive and made of pure evil, ready to take the guys down. Jack and Callum try to fight back, but every time they break one of the snowmen apart, it just reassembles itself like a creepy puzzle. Callum's quick thinking helps. He knocks the first snowman's carrot nose off, causing it to fall apart for good. Jack, not missing a beat, grabs a propane tank, rolls it onto an open grill, and throws a bottle of liquor on top, creating a huge explosion that wipes out the second snowman. But just as they think they're in the clear, the third snowman traps Jack in a frozen pool. Callum takes action again, ripping the snowman's nose off to stop it once and for all. With the snowmen defeated, they turn to Ted for more information, but he's been frozen solid and can't talk. Zoe soon arrives to check in on the team, and Callum has a theory. He believes Santa's estranged brother might be working with Gryla. The only problem? Maura doesn't have permission to go near his lair. So, Callum and Jack decide to take matters into their own hands and sneak in themselves to stop Gryla once and for all. Gryla, not one to waste time, decides to test out her new snow globe prison, the Glaskafig, on a guy named Aaron Abel. Aaron, who's been a real jerk, gets his hands on the globe and touches it, and just like that, he gets trapped inside the magic prison. But things don't go as planned for Gryla. When the globe doesn't come back to her right away, she gets frustrated. This was supposed to be part of her master plan, but now it's not working like she thought it would. So, instead of giving up, Gryla decides to make some changes and come up with a new way to use the Glaskafig to her advantage. Jack gets a call from Olivia, who is clearly upset. She criticizes him for not planning to go to Dylan's concert, which makes Jack feel guilty. After hanging up, Jack talks to Callum about Dylan. He admits that he hasn't always been the best dad, and he feels bad about it. Jack wishes he could be there more for his son, but he's not sure how to make up for all the time he's missed. Jack and Callum finally arrive at the lair of Santa's brother, only to discover that his brother is none other than Krampus, the creepy holiday villain. Things quickly go south when Jack, trying to grab a piece of gold from the lair, accidentally makes noise and alerts Krampus and his goons. The two are captured and thrown into a prison cell. They're soon brought to meet Krampus himself, and Callum tries to reason with him. He tells Krampus that Santa needs his help, but Krampus doesn't care one bit. He plans to keep Callum locked up until Jack, not backing down, challenges Krampus to a crazy game called Krampus Schlap. The game is simple. Callum has to take a slap from Krampus, and it's going to be powerful. Callum keeps trying to talk some sense into Krampus, but Krampus slaps him so hard that he goes flying across the room. Before Callum can get up for another round, Jack has a clever idea. He activates a special arm brace on Callum, giving him the power to deliver an epic slap to Krampus, knocking him back. With Krampus stunned, Jack and Callum take their chance and run for it. Callum looks at Jack and says, "Good idea, that worked perfectly." When Jack and Callum finally return to their car, they find a mysterious package sitting on the hood. It's from Gryla, and it's addressed to Jack, but Jack refuses to open it, feeling suspicious about what's inside. Just then, Jack gets a video call from his son, Dylan. Dylan is clearly upset, asking why Jack didn't show up to his concert. To make things worse, Dylan is holding his own package, the same kind of globe that trapped Santa earlier. Dylan, not knowing the danger, touches the globe, and in an instant, he gets teleported away. Jack knows he has no choice now. He grabs his own globe and tells Callum to find them, knowing they have to save Dylan before things get even worse. The clock is ticking, and they have to act fast. Jack and Dylan find themselves trapped in Gryla's lair, and Gryla is there, bragging about how her magic globes are working perfectly. She enjoys seeing them trapped, but Jack knows they have to figure out a way to escape. After Gryla leaves, Jack finally talks to Dylan. He apologizes for not being the best father and admits he has a lot of regrets. Dylan looks at him and forgives him right away. It's a big moment for both of them, and Jack feels a little better knowing his son understands. As they talk, Jack realizes something. His naughty status can actually help them escape. Using this power, they grow big enough to break out of the magic globes. Now, they're one step closer to defeating Gryla and saving Christmas. Earlier, Zoe had secretly placed a tracker on Jack, so Callum quickly figures out that Jack and Dylan are at the North Pole. This means Gryla never took Santa away from there. What they discover next is even more shocking. Gryla's goons, who can shapeshift, have taken over the North Pole. They're pretending to be Mrs. Claus and other guards, fooling everyone. Callum finally tracks down Jack and Dylan, and they all meet up with Zoe. Together, they realize Gryla's plan. She's going to use Santa to operate his sleigh and deliver magic globes all around the world. She wants to trap everyone she thinks is naughty inside these globes. The heroes know they have to stop Gryla before it's too late. They free Mrs. Claus, Garcia, and the other prisoners, and race to stop Gryla's plan and save Christmas. Gryla begins to leave the North Pole, flying away in her sleigh, but Callum and Jack aren't far behind. They chase after her across the snowy landscape, and soon find themselves battling Gryla, while flying through the air on a ramp. In a clever move, Jack manages to unhook the reindeer from the sleigh. This causes the sleigh to stop flying, and Gryla goes flying off the edge. Callum tries to wake up Santa, but just as he's about to, Gryla returns in her true form, a huge and terrifying ogre. She gets ready to attack, but just then, Krampus arrives in his own sleigh, offering his help. The two of them fight Gryla, but she easily tosses Krampus around, though he seems to enjoy it. Finally, Santa wakes up and calls his reindeer to help. The reindeer charge at Gryla, and Santa's team punches her high into the air, sending her crashing down into a pile of magic globes. The globes trap Gryla inside one of them. Zoe quickly takes control of the situation and puts Gryla in custody. The heroes have saved Christmas. Everyone rushes to get Santa ready to deliver presents around the world. Callum, Jack, and Dylan all join him on the sleigh, flying from place to place, delivering joy to kids everywhere. Callum watches Jack and Dylan getting closer and bonding, and he even sees a glimpse of Jack's inner child. This moment makes Santa realize that Callum has changed his mind about retiring. With a big smile, Santa decides to fly everyone home. It's been a wild ride, but now, thanks to the teamwork of Callum, Jack, and Dylan, Christmas is saved. So, which awesome movie should we recap next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below and let's make it happen. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you never miss out on our movie recaps. We've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Produced by Warner Movie Recaps.